In the top stories, St. Kitts and Nevis elected Vice President of UNESCO World Heritage Body. Solar energy to power Zandali platform in Trinidad and Tobago, and Indians resort to crowdfunding to pay COVID bills. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 4th of August 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis has been named Vice President of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee. UNESCO's most influential body held its 44th session virtually towards the end of July with remote participation by delegates from St. Kitts and Nevis. After a 4-year mandate on the committee, St. Kitts and Nevis will stand down later this year at its General Assembly. But before relinquishing its seat and being the only small island developing state on the committee, the Federation had a last-minute shot at marking its legacy to the workings of the World Heritage Committee. Member states elected St. Kitts and Nevis as Vice President. According to a statement, permanent delegate to UNESCO, Ambassador David Doyle, thanked his co-delegate to the UNESCO Committee, Percival Hanley, General Manager of the UNESCO-listed Brimstone Hill Fortress, for his work over the past 4 years in ensuring a sterling representation on behalf of St. Kitts and Nevis. The World Heritage Committee is responsible for the implementation of the World Heritage Convention, defines the use of the World Heritage Fund, and allocates financial assistance upon requests from states parties. It also has the final say on whether a property is inscribed on the World Heritage List. Backyard gardeners are being assisted in their fight against monkey infestation. 6 monkey traps were donated on Wednesday to the St. Kitts Association of Backyard Gardeners during a short ceremony at the ministry's La Grete location. According to agricultural officials, when monkeys are caught in the traps, the gardeners have a responsibility to phone the ministry so that the relevant persons can tranquilize and remove the monkeys. A demonstration of the trap was done by the builders and detailed by Winston Mulrain, the project coordinator of the Feral Control Program. The traps vary in size and will complement the monkey shooting program to control the population. Officials from the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College will be featured on the radio and television program Working for You later today. The special guests will be Dr. Moya Rotham, Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs, Carissa Kelly, Assistant Registrar, and Wanda Hughes, Dean of the Division of Adult and Continuing Education, executing duties for the Division of Arts, Sciences, and General Studies. The discussion will focus on the value of receiving an education from CFBC, how the college has adjusted to COVID-19 guided by CFBC COVID policy, CFBC partnerships, and programs offerings at CFBC, among other pertinent issues. Working for You is broadcast live every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. on ZIZ Radio and other participating radio stations. The program is also streamed live on the SKNIS Facebook and YouTube pages. We now move to news on the regional scene. Upstream company De Novo Energy Limited has signed an agreement with the National Gas Company in Trinidad and Tobago for the commercialization of the Zandali field, a natural gas platform which will be powered by 100% renewable energy. It is expected to deliver approximately 40 million standard cubic feet of gas per day when it begins production in the first half of 2022. TTT News with this report.
Upstream company De Novo Energy Limited has signed an agreement with the National Gas Company for the commercialization of the Zandali field, which will be powered by 100% renewable energy. The project will be De Novo's second offshore installment following the Iguana field development in the same block, which was the first West Coast natural gas field to be developed in Trinidad and Tobago. The Zandali development is expected to deliver approximately 40 million standard cubic feet of gas per day when it begins production in the first half of 2022. The project includes connecting pipeline to the Iguana platform, which will enable the new field to utilize spare processing capacity at Iguana and thereby reduce project costs. De Novo's Managing Director Brian Ramzumer says the company is thrilled to contribute to increasing the gas supply in this country's petrochemical sector, particularly from formerly stranded gas fields.
Partners like the agency were supporting us consistently and certainly jobs, people at work, which I think is important. We need that as a country, and that's what we could do. So we want to get some people at work and obviously get gas into the country to get some jobs there.
Meanwhile, NGC President Mark Loquan praised the de novo for utilizing green energy into the project, where the Zandoli development will utilize 100% green power generation powered by both wind and solar energy.
That you are looking ahead, and you're also thinking the green future and incorporating all of those type of thinking and solar power and so on. In all of this in this activity. So congratulations to you and your team as well on this milestone.
The platform will be fabricated locally, and a local rig will be utilized for installation of the platform as well as drilling and completion.
Still on the regional scene, with new rules announced for travel to the Bahamas, which include COVID testing children as young as 2 years old and persons who are fully vaccinated within 5 days of their arrival, opposition parties say it makes no sense. Janelle Longley of Eyewitness News has more.
It's science-driven. If that's what the medical people advise, then insofar as it affects the public good, then one has to support it.
Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Fred Mitchell, says it's about time government officials put medical advice before political agendas when it comes to protecting the Bahamian people. This on the heels of new testing requirements for vaccinated individuals, and its position also shared by Democratic National Alliance Health spokesman Dr. Carneal Farquharson and Coalition of Independents leader Lincoln Bain.
All travelers coming in, especially those from North America, where the Delta variant is spreading very quickly, and I think it represents about 80% of their infection rate. Those persons definitely should be tested, even though they may be vaccinated.
It is common sense. You don't have to be a doctor or an expert to really sit down and think that you should not let anyone come into this country, vaccinated or not, and not be tested properly.
But Bain says while this is a step forward, it's still not enough.
They have not gone fully in that direction, because the rule actually doesn't say that you have to be tested to come in. It says that you have to obtain a test within 5 days of being in the Bahamas. And so what is happening now is you're going to allow people to come in the Bahamas, go around to everyone, possibly spread the disease, be here for 5 days, and then go and get a test. That absolutely makes no sense.
He and Mitchell also criticizing the government's move, having previously defended not testing vaccinated individuals.
The problem is it just comes off that the Prime Minister is a flip-flopper. One day he's this, the next day it's that.
Just last week, the Minister of Health defended persons coming into the country who were vaccinated not being tested. He defended that. Now we see that the government has to flip-flop on that.
The new regime also requires kids as young as 2 years old to be tested, which is a concern for some parents. But Dr. Farquharson says it's better to be safe than sorry.
You have to weigh the risk and benefits, because these children can still be asymptomatic carriers, and can infect persons who are unvaccinated. And so there may be some concern, but it's still a good risk balance profile to ensure that those persons coming from the high risk area with the Delta variant are in some way not being allowed to infect the population.
And as it relates to cruise passengers, Bain says government should not leave those rules up to cruise lines. Janelle Longley, Eyewitness News.
Internationally, India's health ministry says the coronavirus pandemic is still raging and is far from over, but millions do not have health insurance and are struggling to pay medical bills. Faced with a mountain of COVID debt, many Indians are turning to crowdfunding to pay the steep medical bills. Al Jazeera's Pavni Mittal reports.
Saurabh Sharma recorded this message after spending a month on a ventilator. He needed a medical device to help him speak, but it was a major milestone in his COVID-19 recovery.
32 lakh.
However, as his condition improved and he returned home, his family faced another dilemma: paying off the $50,000 in medical bills. After spending all their savings, they borrowed from friends, family, and the bank. Still short, they turned to a popular fundraising site and raised $30,000. Since Saurabh is still unable to walk or interact with people, His family has rented a separate home for him with 24-hour care.
Financially,
we lost money because of the medical bills. We lost our incomes and had these new expenses. On top of it, we have interest on loans. It was a very horrible experience. I used to feel like I had almost lost my son. Almost every day I used to feel that I would get the bad news.
Most Indians don't have health insurance. Faced with a mountain of debt due to COVID-19, thousands sought help online and have collectively raised nearly $200 million since the pandemic started. During the record-breaking second wave, online donations increased fourfold.
This was a collective struggle and empathy has only increased. And luckily, because of the digital penetration right now, in the internet penetration in India right now, through social media, we become more aware about what is happening.
India spends less than 2% of its GDP on healthcare. And as public hospitals became inundated during the peak of the second wave, many people were forced into private care. And the cost of life-saving drugs and medical equipment in short supply also shot up.
Government has been for the last 20 years, but definitely in the last 7 or 8 years, having an active process of encouraging markets in healthcare. But when the COVID-19 came on, the markets, the private sector completely failed to rise to the occasion. In the beginning, they shut shop. Later, when they opened, they were charging high.
In a bid to restart the economy, restrictions have eased across the country. But the lockdown has pushed millions into poverty. With the threat of a third wave looming large, many states have made arrangements to increase hospital beds and improve oxygen supply. But experts say that even if the next surge is mild, its economic and social cost will be disproportionately high. Pavni Mittal, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
41 people were killed in a road accident in south-central Mali on Tuesday when a truck carrying goods and market workers collided with a passenger bus, the Transport Ministry said. More in this Reuters report.
At least 41 people were killed in a road accident in south-central Mali on Tuesday when a truck carrying market workers and goods collided with a passenger bus, according to the Transport Ministry. The front section of the bus was ripped off by the force of the crash. Debris was scattered across the road. State broadcaster ORTM reported that the truck's driver lost control after a tire burst. The vehicle then swerved into the path of the bus. The crash happened 12 miles away from the town of Ségou. At least 33 people were wounded in the collision, according to a ministry spokesperson. Africa has by far the world's most dangerous roads. It registers over 26 deaths per 100,000 population, according to the World Health Organization.
And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy with showers in the vicinity. Winds are a gentle breeze of 9 miles per hour from the east. The temperature is 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves not exceeding 5 feet. The weather for today will be cloudy and for tonight partly cloudy with 50% or a moderate chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:42 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:51 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.